Hey guys, my name is Jesse. Welcome to my channel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Commander, where all I talk about is domain format. If you're not familiar with domain format, I got a handy video here to learn how to play. It's only the most fun casual format ever, in my humble opinion. We gather here today because the new set has just been released, Aliance Insight. I'm going to be reviewing some of the cards that I thought about while looking over the set that I thought would be cool in domain format specifically. Got a lot to go over, but first, if you guys want to support me, you'll notice I was streaming on Twitch. You can go subscribe to me there or here on YouTube. You can become a member. I have a Patreon. If you guys want to support me directly, you can go there. There's some benefits. You guys can look it over. I'm starting a TCG store. I just made my first sale. Woo! And if anything in this video looks interesting enough to purchase on TCG Player, I have a affiliate link you guys can see below. It's all in my link tree, everything all in one place. But the best way to support me is completely free. You can like the video. It helps YouTube show the video to more people. You can subscribe so you don't miss out on any more domain content. And I think with that said, let's get into the review. Hey guys, Jesse here. I am streaming on Twitch right now. I'm hanging out with the boys, the guys, and I wanted to do an Aliance Insight review. I'm not going to go over card by card, but I do have a general idea of the cards and archetypes that I'm excited about. This set honestly is huge. This set has so many good cards, so many archetypes. I was honestly pretty surprised because you know, a lot of times in sets there's like a lot of archetypes I'm not excited about or cards that don't seem all that exciting, but there's legitimately a lot of really strong cards in this set, not only for domain but for advanced as well. I'm not going to be going over Mitsurugi or the Yugioh stuff because everybody's probably already heard about that a million times. The first set of cards I do want to talk about is going to be Regenesis. I am ridiculously excited for this archetype. They only have, so far, 5 main deck monsters, 2 spells, and a trap. But the main aspect of them that I am so excited about, if you don't know, their gimmick is that they all have 2500 attack, 2500 defense, and they all share an ability. If it is sent to the graveyard during an opponent's turn, they return to your hand. And if you don't know, in domain, that is insane. That is so good. Being able to return them back to your hand to swarm the field with them on your next turn. They all swarm pretty easily. They all have pretty good interaction. We'll go over them now. This guy's kind of the elemental hero Neos of the deck. He has a built-in special summon, which is nice. I have a deck using him as the deck master. With him as the deck master, you have access to Earth, Fiend, and the Regenesis archetype, along with the Archfiend archetype, but they're all fiends anyway. But he says you can special summon this card from your hand by revealing another monster with 2500 attack or 2500 defense in your hand. All the other Regenesis monsters have 25. So if you have one of those, it's not hard, but there's a lot of other cards that just happen to have 2500 defense or attack. It's really not hard to summon this guy. I don't think you'd have to add too many more monsters with 2500 attack or defense to get this guy out. On summon, on normal or special summon, he can add a Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand. That is also huge. Being able to add cards from deck or banishment. My ears were instantly perked after reading this one card about this archetype. I've played a few games practicing with them. They're in my opinion really good. And he also says during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent through this turn, you can add this card to your hand. There's a lot of use cases for this. Dark Factory and more production, you can send this to the graveyard, draw a card, and if it was during the opponent's turn, this guy adds back, so it's just like you can build a lot of advantage with this engine. The next one is Sage. This is a water spellcaster, and this one's level 7. Regenesis Archfiend was level 8. If a monster with 2500 attack or defense is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this also has a built-in summon. Once you get him in play by revealing one of the other Regenesis monsters, then this is just able to summon itself. Instead of having an on-summon effect, this has a quick effect. You can send one other Regenesis card from your hand or face to the grave in response to an activation of a card or effect to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So if you have this in play and tribute the Regenesis Archfiend on somebody else's turn, you'll get a negate and a pop, plus this will come back to your hand at the end of the phase of the turn. You can see how this is like working out really good for domain, in my opinion. And also, if this is sent to the graveyard, if it was during an opponent's turn, you can add it back to your hand. Warrior is also able to summon itself if you have a 2500 attack monster with 2500 attack or defense in play. It doesn't have an on-summon effect, but it has a quick effect. You can tribute this card, then target a monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. It's an evacuation device, and if it's sent to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can add it back to hand. This one doesn't have a on-summon effect, but it has a quick effect. You can tribute it to target a spell trap your opponent controls, banish it, so it's a Cosmic Cyclone, and it adds itself back during the end phase if it was sent during the opponent's turn. They have a boss monster, main deck boss monster. It's pretty crazy. Can't be normal summon set. Must be special summoned by banishing a face-up monster you control with 2500 original attack and defense. So this one's the one that requires both 2500 attack and defense. The other ones only require one or the other. So this guy, you pretty much have to have a Regenesis in play. There are some other monsters that fit that role, but for the most part, if he's your deck master, he's going to be the one filling that role. And it sounds like, why would I want to banish my stuff? Like, I don't want to banish my guys. Well, if you end up banishing Sage, Dragon, or Warrior, you can get them back with Regenesis Archfiend, so keep that in mind. You can only special summon this once per turn this way. If it is special summoned, you can set a Regenesis spell trap from your deck, and he gains 2500 attack during the battle phase only. He goes up to 5k during the battle phase. And if he attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing. This guy's going to be able to get over everything, and not much is going to be able to get back over him. So what are the spell and trap cards? Well, in my opinion, you will most likely be going for this trap most of the time. This is a continuous trap. You can send a Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls to change it to face-down defense position. Now, during your opponent's turn, if you send Sage, Archfiend, Warrior, or Dragon, it was sent during your opponent's turn, so it will be added back to your hand, and you'll get to Book of Moon something. Also, it has a second effect, but you can only activate one or the other effect of the card only once per turn. During the opponent's turn, you can send this card to the graveyard and special summon as many Regenesis monsters as possible with different names from your hand, graveyard, and or banishment, but send them to the graveyard during the end phase. This can be a way to set up a huge board super quick on your opponent's turn. Like, for instance, let's say you summoned Archfiend, got the big Lord, set this, and slowly over time, once per turn on each opponent's turn, you would activate this, send this to Book of Moon something. On the next turn, activate this, send this to Book of Moon something. Adding these back to your hand, by the way. The fourth turn, somebody's able to attack. You could send this, or summon all of these guys that you've been sending to the graveyard slowly over time. Use their quick effects, and have a solid defense at instant speed. Like I said, you could use this offensively or defensively, and if you use it defensively, it sends them all to the graveyard, but they add back to your hand during the end phase anyway. It won't even matter. You'll be able to then deploy them again on your following turn. The Regenesis stuff is huge. I think it's a crazy good engine. It's going to be really hard to fit into most decks because one's a Fire Warrior, one's a Wind Dragon, one's a Water Spellcaster, one's an Earth Fiend, and the Lord is a Light Illusion. So it's a wide domain. That's why I like picking the Archfiend as the deck master, because then you can play any Earth monster, any Fiend monster, and just not worry about... You can play all the Regenesis monsters because they're in the archetype. They have two more spells, though, I should say really quick. They have a normal spell, take a Regenesis monster from your deck, either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add any monster with 2500 attack and 2500 defense from your deck to your hand. There's a slew of cards you can add to your hand with this card. Also, if this card's in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, then target a Regenesis monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So it's also a monster reborn. And again, banishing is not that big of a deal, because if your deck master is Regenesis Archfiend, you can, the next time you summon him, get this back. And lastly, they have a quick play. You can special summon a Regenesis monster from your deck, but send it to the graveyard during the opponent's end phase, which again is not that big of a deal. Also, until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck. So they have an extra deck lock on one of their cards, which is not that big of a deal. They don't have any extra deck monsters. So this is, I imagine this is kind of to discourage abusing extra deck stuff with the easily summonable main deck monsters. If you're player 1 and you activate this on turn 2, this only locks you out during the turn player 3's turn. So by the time it gets back to your turn, you're no longer under the lock, and you can go into your extra deck like normal. Also says during the main phase of this card's in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, target a banished Regenesis monster, special summon it. It's a monster reborn from Banish. I love this. I love all these cards that recycle. This is just like a dream come true. These cards are nuts. Obviously, there's been some more cards spoiled that are coming out later, but we'll talk about that when they come out, I guess. Like I said, I've built a deck with him as a deck master, and because I'm playing Earth, I'm playing Primite, and because he's a Fiend, I'm playing Fiendsmith. So I get to mix in normal Fiends to help facilitate the Fiendsmith stuff. And the Fiendsmith stuff is just good on its own. It also does a ton of recycling. So does Primite. Like Primite Barrel Dragon adds itself back. Drill Beam adds itself back if you have a Primite in play. And the Primite cards can go get a level 6, so you can make level 6 plays with the Fiendsmith stuff. I love engines that don't require the extra deck. So this card's really, really cool. Another series of cards that I'm really excited about, they're not really under a single archetype. So Ancient Fairy Dragon is getting a retrain, and it got a lot of support to go along with it. Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. It is a level 8 light dragon with 2500 attack, 3300 defense. It takes generic materials. If this card's synchro summoned, you can draw a card, or if World of Spirits is on the field, add a light monster, beast, plant, or fairy, or Eternal Sunshine from your deck to your hand instead. That is a crazy on-summon effect. Important to note, it is a dragon that mentions beast, plant, or fairy. This has 4 monster types included in its domain. That's huge, first off. That immediately caught my attention when I was reading this stuff. We don't know what Eternal Sunshine is yet, but we'll look it up. You can only use this effective AFD once per turn. Your Ancient Fairy Dragon and monsters that mention it can attack while in face-up defense position. Apply their defense. That's a great DM so far. Yeah, I agree. But we'll come to find out that there's kind of a theme among the new AFD support. Already, I love this card. Being able to attack in defense position is honestly really nice in domain, because you can attack with this while it's in defense, and it's got 3300 defense, which is pretty big. It gets over most boss monsters, and then you can feel a whole lot safer passing the turn having this in defense position. Honestly, I'm excited to play with this archetype. I'm probably gonna end up building something myself. And light, dragon, plant, beast, fairy is a huge domain. Now, it got some main deck new support, and a lot of it has to do with the anime. You'll remember the Signer Dragon Duelist having older versions of these cards, and it got some retrains. So let's take a look at them. Spore the Fairy Seed is a level 1 plant tuner. If this card's special summoned, you can count the number of monsters you control and have this card gain up to that many levels. If you control AFD or a light, beast, plant, or fairy, and this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except synchro monsters. You only use its effects once per turn. So, great tuner. It's able to level modulate really well. It doesn't just level modulate by 1 or 2 levels, it's by quite a lot. And if you control basically anything in the deck, and it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it. So you could synchro with it once, bring it back, and synchro again. Oh man, this card's such a great tuner. Next up is Currybon, the Fairy Spirit. If you control AFD or a light, beast, plant, or fairy, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it is treated as a tuner. If another card you control that is AFD or a monster that mentions it would be destroyed by card effect, you can return this card you control to the hand instead. You only use each effect of Currybon, the Fairy Spirit, once per turn. So kind of nice having some protection from Dark Hole, but they will most likely just get rid of this before they activate Dark Hole or something like that. But it is a nice layer, and it's also able to summon for free. It's a tuner. Not too shabby. This will probably be going into the deck if I was to try and build some sort of deck around this theme. There's Regulus the Fairy Beast, which is level 4, 1700 attack, 1000 defense. Light Beast. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a spell trap that mentions AFD from your deck to your hand. This sounds like a Stratos effect. During your main phase, you can special summon a level 4 or lower light monster, beast, plant, or fairy from your hand in defense position. Look at that. He also mentions beast, plant, or fairy. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one field spell in your graveyard, place on the bottom of your deck, then draw a card. This guy is nuts. So this has a very similar domain to Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. You're just missing out on Dragon, which is pretty huge to be honest. Having light means you'll be able to play all the AFD stuff. And on summon, it can add a spell trap that mentions AFD. During your main phase, you can special summon. It helps you extend to hopefully get one of these tuners into play. Oh, look, there's old Regulus. If this was your deck master, you could let it go to the graveyard and then banish it from your graveyard to target a field spell in your graveyard, place on the bottom of your deck, draw a card, and then put this back into the deck master zone. I think this guy is going to be huge. I think you could go either way, to be honest. Like, I think this guy might be the better choice, the safer choice, because you can normal summon it and start your plays. But let's take a look at what they got. They got a new field spell. Let's go. World of Spirits. When this card is activated, you can add a monster that mentions AFD from your deck to your hand. You can only activate the following effects while you control level 7 or higher light dragon synchro monster. Each time a monster is special summoned in attack position, change it to defense position. Once per turn, during the end phase, destroy all attack position monsters on the field. You only activate one World of Spirits per turn. This is like This is super annoying to have to deal with. Being able to add something that mentions AFD is amazing. So you could summon Regulus, go get World of Spirits, activate World of Spirits, go get one of the tuners that you need, and then go into this new Ancient Fury Life Dragon immediately. Draw a card, or go search for the other tuner, or Eternal Sunshine, which we'll get to in a second. But once they start summoning cards, it's going to be incredibly hard to get through your field, because it's going to get switched to a defense position. And then during their next turn, when they switch it to attack position, if they start attacking, during that end phase, all their attack position monsters will get destroyed. This seems super obnoxious, I'm not going to lie. Great field spell. Obviously, it's going to get targeted and destroyed or banished or whatever. And if it gets destroyed, you can get it back with Regulus. If it gets banished, you can play multi-universe to get it back. Or DD post. And lastly, the last card that the new AFD card can search for, Eternal Sunshine. It's a continuous trap. Monsters you control gain 500 defense for each AFD, and monster that mentions it that you control. Oh my gosh. You could be giving the Spore, the Kuribon, the Regulus, like an extra 2,000 defense. And then while this is in play, all monsters that mentions AFD can attack in defense position. So you could put up a giant field with this. That's kind of crazy. Once per chain, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Its attack and defense becomes halved. Also, its effects are negated. And it's just like a crazy imperm. You can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of AFD and monsters that mention it that you control. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure there's a way that you could go straight into Regulus, into Spore after playing some number of extenders, to go into either the old AFD, summoning another monster out of your hand. I'm sure you could end up going into this, getting back this Fairy Seed. You'll have at least 2 monsters in play for this, giving them an extra 1,000 defense, and they can attack in defense position. Seems pretty good. Obviously, you'd have to make some lines where you put in enough extenders to where that's possible, but with having access to plant, beast, fairies, and dragons, if you pick this, I'm pretty sure you can make that work. This seems like a very interesting archetype. It's not an archetype, but it's a series. I love that it has access to so many things in its domain, and recycling field spells, searching for more field spells with the other AFD. I think this is going to be a cool deck. I might put it together myself. This kind of seems like a pretty straightforward, simple deck, so it might be good to hand out to people to play. And this card's just nuts. Oh my gosh. You can make this like a 2 or 3 times Forbidden Chalice or Droplet. That's nuts. I guess it mixes well with Naturia since they're plants and they have Camellia, which is level 4 tuner. Oh yeah, I imagine this goes great with Naturia stuff. But I wanted to mention that for anybody who was enjoyer of the 5Ds era. All right, I would not be able to do a set review without looking at some good old-fashioned zombie support. Specifically Eldritch. We're getting a new fusion monster, level 10 Dark Zombie, Fallen Angel of the Golden Land. Takes Eldritch plus a zombie monster. Must be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing a light zombie monster while you have Eldritch the Golden Lord in your field or graveyard. Obviously, all of the traps are light zombies. If you're going for Eldritch, it ain't that hard to get them in field or graveyard. And the fact that it can contact fuse, or not contact fuse, but just send as a way to fusion summon it, this is awesome. Let's see what it does though. You can only special summon this once per turn this way, no matter which method you use. That's interesting. I've never heard that sentence in a Yu-Gi-Oh card before, but here we are. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon an Eldritch monster from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. So yeah, you could get out an Eldritch, special summon one of these guys to have them in play, tribute the trap, which is now a light zombie, to summon him. And then if you end up getting him out of play, like using him plus, I don't know, Eldritch for like a rank 10 or a link 2, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon any Eldritch monster from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. You could get Eldritch back from your graveyard, but why would you do that when you can go for the Mad Golden Lord? It doesn't say it must be fusion summoned. It doesn't say this fusion summoned card. It just said this card name becomes Eldritch the Golden Lord, cannot be destroyed by battle card effects. You can tribute a zombie to take one face-up monster your opponent controls, but it cannot attack or activate specs this turn. Wow, you just permanently gain control of it. This seems amazing. This is essentially a Link 1 for Eldritch. This card's great. They also got a trap, a new Elixir of the Glorious Golden Land. You can pay 100 life points, then activate one of these effects. Special summon this as a normal monster, light, level 10, 1500, 2800. It's still a trap. Then if you control Eldritch the Golden Lord, you can return one monster from the field to the hand. Or you can set one of your banished Golden Lord, Golden Land, or Elixir spell traps. You can only use this effect once per turn. It recycles the Golden Lord or Elixir banished traps. This is so good. Can't you just attribute Eldritch himself? Yeah, you totally can. So it's very easy to summon him. And this is I love this card. I guess the cons, you got to pay life points to activate it. It also doesn't have a banishment effect of its own to go search for another card. I think getting back banished Elixir cards or Golden Land cards alone is huge value. Obviously, you'd be playing DD Post and probably Necroface as well. Yeah, so anyway, it's only 2 cards, but I think this is kind of huge because this guy was kind of annoying to go into in Domain anyway, and essentially just having easy access by taking up another slot in the extra deck. This is amazing. This is very recursive. I'm very excited. I'm thinking about putting back the old Necroface Deckmaster deck and making it kind of essentially based around Eldritch. Mostly, for the most part. So I wanted to mention those because those seemed cool. If you thought that was it for the zombies, just wait. They got a new main deck monster, Moisa White. I don't know what Moisa is or what it means. Is that its name? Is that its title? I don't know. He's a 300, 200 zombie, dark level 1. It becomes Skull Servant in the graveyard, as they all should. If this card's normal or special, you can add a Skull Servant or a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand except itself. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except zombie monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. During the main phase, you can normal summon a level 4 or lower zombie in addition to its normal summon set. I really like this card because it doesn't shut out other zombie strategies, and searching for anything that mentions Skull Servant is amazing. This guy might be a Deckmaster material if you're really wanting to go for the Skull Servant line of play. It did get a new card it can search for in White Reanimator. If your King of the Skull Servants attacks a defense switch monster, inflict piercing. Once per turn, you can target a Skull Servant or King of Skull Servants in your graveyard. Send a Skull Servant or a monster that mentions it from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster. You also cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for zombies. This is insane. It's a monster born plus Foolish Burial. I have a deck profile of our good buddy Josh, who did a deck mostly revolving around the Skull Servant cards. He is ecstatic for these cards. Skull Servant fans rejoice. You're getting more support. Like I said, I'm not going to be going into the Mitsurugi too much because everybody and their mom is talking about them. Also, the new Malice stuff, I'm not all that interested in. What I am interested in, though, is amazing lore cards. If you don't know, the Diabellstar lore is coming to an end with this set, from what we can tell, and there's a lot of cards to go over. We got ourselves a new Diabellstar called Diabellstar Vengeance. Level 8 Fiend, 2500 attack, 2100 defense. Always treated as a Sinful Spoils card. You can banish a spell and trap from your hand and or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Pretty nice. This does activate those, so if she was your Deckmaster, you would have to tribute summon her. She has a quick effect. You can pay half your life points to target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Then if another Diabell monster card is on the field, you can special summon a Tuner Synchro monster, Illusion or Spellcaster, from your deck, extra deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. So first off, I'm sad that this is not a built-in summon because she has a pretty big domain. Dark, Fiend, Diabell, which is an archetype, but also Illusion or Spellcaster. With this as your Deckmaster, you would be able to play all the Diabell cards, all the White Forest cards, a lot of the Illusion and Spellcaster support for those things. This, I honestly think, would be a great Deckmaster if you didn't have to tribute summon it, but it's not the end of the world if you do have to tribute summon it. It can be easily summoned from the graveyard. So I've considered it, but let's go over the rest of the cards before we, make a final decision. Diabell's the White Witch also got an upgrade. This is treated as a White Forest card. She's a level 8 Illusion Light monster. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control 2 or more Diabell monsters. So you can see that they get kind of a boost from having an additional Diabell monster on the field. I think that is supposed to signify that they are now working together to beat the big bad guy, which we will see. You can only use each of the following effects of her once per turn. You can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. This also is not a built-in summon, but it does activate the White Forest cards that activate when sent to graveyard to activate an effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send a Sinful Spoils or Diabell card from your deck to the graveyard. Very good. There's lots of cards that now treat themselves as Sinful Spoils or Diabell, or are considered Diabell cards, like Diabellstar, Diabells, Queen Azamina. There's a lot. Poplar got upgraded, got sent to the extra deck. It's a light level 4 illusion synchro tuner. Takes a tuner and non-tuner. If it's special, you can target 2 white forest monsters in your graveyard, place them face up in their owner's spell and trap as continuous spells. During your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. Obviously, this is a very good white forest card. Going into Diabel or Rusilla or the wolf one with the level 2s as a quick effect is going to be huge. I'm definitely going to be playing this in my white forest deck. But you'll notice Diabellstar can summon Poplar from the extra deck. With her pay half life points, target a card, destroy it. Then if you have another Diabell monster, you can special summon a tuner from your extra deck, which not only includes Poplar, but Rusiella, the other one, forgive me, I forgot its name. There we go. Silvera, that's what I was looking for. So I think this activated effect while having another Diabell monster is going to be huge, like a giant swing. Because being able to get this or Rusiella or the other one or Diabell at instant speed, pretty good. There's a new Snake Eyes Synchro. It's quite easy to summon. It's a level 12 Fire Dragon generic material. During the main phase, you can target a face-up monster on the field or in the graveyard. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field or graveyard, place it face-up in its spell trap zone as a continuous spell. Also, this card cannot use this effect during the next turn. Very interesting, kind of reminiscent of Mirror Jade with the restriction. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can target a monster and a continuous spell on the field, destroy them. So obviously, you would summon it, target a monster on the field or graveyard, put it in the back zone, and then during the next turn, since you can't activate this effect, you would activate the other one to pop 2 of their cards, one being the continuous spell you just put out. I don't know. I was kind of confused when I first saw this card because I don't think Tenpai wants to play it. I don't know. I don't know if White Forest would play it, let alone Snake Eye. I don't even think Snake Eye has a tuner. Yeah, I don't know where this is supposed to go, but it's there. White Forest got a field spell. When it's activated, you can add a White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, but you cannot summon dark monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Very sad because that locks you out of the Azamina archetype for the most part, and I think it does that on purpose because I think this is to show that this is the White Forest without the influence of the Azamina. The first time a White Forest monster you control will be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not, which is nice because the Azamina monsters are pretty small. Or sorry, the White Forest monsters are pretty small. You can target a White Forest monster you control, it's treated as a tuner this turn. This is the one that's very confusing to me. I don't know why, like, they don't need help creating tuners, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a tuner and you use this to go into this. This is a tuner, so when this comes back you can go into this. I guess you can make this a tuner for some reason. I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch combo videos. And you can only use this effect once per turn. You'll only activate one Witch of the Forest, one Witch of the White Forest per turn. In general, great field spell. It sucks that it locks you out of dark because I would love to mix this with Azamina, but all right, before we moved away from the monsters, I wanted to talk about Azamina. It was very hard to find this card. I don't know why, but it's not on YGO Pro Deck yet. And it is coming out in Aliance Insight. It takes Queen Azamina and a fusion or synchro monster must first be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing a Saint Azamina you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls. It's kind of like a Kaiju fusion. I'm really excited about this card. I'm excited to I think it's going to be very useful. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Each time your opponent activates a card or effect, all monsters they control lose 500 attack when it resolves. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with 0 attack. Very interesting floodgate effect. Giant body, 4,000, 4,000. I think this is going to be really fun to mess with and play with because getting out Saint Azamina in the Azamina deck is not going to be hard whatsoever. And then opponents always have monsters to tribute. So I'm excited to try this out and myself. On the spell and traps, they got Curse of Diabell. If you control 2 or more Diabell monsters, which by the way is not just these 2 monsters, Diabells and Diabellstar also count as Diabell monsters. You can send one monster you control to the graveyard, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. If this card is sent to the graveyard or banished from hand or deck, you can add a Diabell spell trap from your deck to your hand except itself. Kind of a crazy board wipe. All cards your opponent controls. This was obviously target opponent, but destroying all face-up cards. That would include their field spell or any continuous spell traps they have. And then if you Foolish Burial this card, or discard it, or banish it from your hand or graveyard, or sorry, banish it from hand or deck, it does a search, which I believe, yeah, this banishes to summon. So I'm sure there's a combo there, right? Philia Diabell. You can add a level 8 or higher Diabell monster from your deck to your hand, or if only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon it instead. If this card is banished, you can make all Diabell monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. You can only use one shot each once per turn. So going first, just being able to search up Diabellstar or Diabells, the White Witch. But going second, being able to just put it straight into play, crazy. Getting the 500 attack buff, not that big of a deal. I really like this card. And it finally shows them teaming up and facing off against Saint Azamina. This card. This card is super good. It's also very sad because it seems like, I mean, I'm just complete conjecture here. I'm just trying to guess what's happening here. But it seems like all the people from the White Forest ended up dying. Diabell Star and Diabells are victorious, but clearly very sad that their family, or I don't know if they're family, friends, childhood, whatever, they've passed on. It's a very sad card. This art is one of the few pieces of art that I think is like 10 out of 10 for Yu-Gi-Oh! Great storytelling. It's a good art. But anyway, you can activate one of these effects. Target Diabell monsters in your graveyard or banishment. Discard a card, and if you do, special summon that monster. Getting Diabell monsters from graveyard or banishment, amazing in in domain. Target a face-up monster card in your spell and trap zone to special summon it. Obviously, you would be comboing this with the new Poplar. Yeah, that's most of the new support from the new set. I think these cards are amazing. I'm going to be getting them myself. I have my own Azamina Whitewoods deck. I'm going to be slotting all of these in. All right, now we're through most of the archetypes that I want to talk about. Now we're going to talk about kind of just some individual cards that I caught my eye when I was reading through them. Starting off, we're going to look at Philia Regis. Now, this is a Dragon Fusion. I was instantly interested. It's level 8, 3000 attack, 2500 defense dragon. It takes a Dragon Fusion monster and a level 7 or higher dragon monster. During the main phase quick effect, you can target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. Then if you banish a card on the field, return a dragon monster you control to the hand. Which dragon archetype doesn't mind returning themselves to the hand? Can you guys think of any? Dragon Maids. This is very clearly a Dragon Maid card, especially because Dragon Maids facilitate the materials very easily. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can return a dragon monster you control to the hand or extra deck. If you do, special summon this card. Amazing. Once you put the work into summoning it, if it ends up going to the graveyard, you can return any dragon to special summon it again. This can be a bestial, this can be chambermaid, it doesn't matter. Them maids do be dragons. To special summon this, and then you have more interaction if it survives the battle phase. This card is so amazing. I love this card, and you could probably even still like just make this work in a dragon centric deck in conjunction with like bestials. This seems amazing, being able to bounce a dragon to your own hand to banish more stuff. This card's awesome. I can't wait to put it into my own Dragon Maid deck. This seems like a very good generic removal card, board breaker card. Gordian Slicer. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. At the start of the main phase 1 or 2, target any number of face-up cards on the field. In domain, this can target cards on each person's field, doesn't matter. For each targeted card, banish a card from your hand or 6 cards from your extra deck face down. Then return those targeted cards, to the hand. Yeah, dude, I really like this card. I am morbidly curious of whose sword this is. Can't be negated. The effect and activation cannot be negated. At the start of main phase 1 or 2 is a lot more lenient than just the start of main phase 1, because you can go into battle, clear what you can, then use this to clear the dust of whatever's left during the main phase 2. Banishing one card from your hand face down. I don't think there's any decks that can take like a lot of advantage of that. Like maybe, for instance, the Necroface deck I was talking about. Like if I had Necroface as my deck master, I could, with no regret, banish as many cards from my hand as I wanted or needed to in order to activate this, because then I could just summon a Necroface and get them all back into the deck, right? I would still be down cards, but the fact that they can't do much in response is huge. Very good generic card. I like it. As everybody knows, there's been a few new, very powerful hand traps called Dominus cards. This one makes it seem like the Dominus cards are going to end up being an archetype. It says it's called Songs of the Dominators. So this is not a Dominus card, sadly, but it says if you have no monsters in your graveyard, you can activate this card from your hand. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, negate that effect, and if you have a trap in your graveyard, you can add a Dominus card from your deck to your hand. The can only be activated if you have no monsters in your graveyard. Typically, you would think that would only work on like turn 1, but this could also be slotted into like Macrocosmos Fissure decks, you know what I'm saying? But then it says if you activate this card from your hand, you cannot activate the effects of monsters in your hand, graveyard, or banishment until the end of the next turn. Not too bad of a restriction, to be honest. I'm wondering who this red character is. I'm really excited to see what else happens with the Dominus cards. I think they're good. Dragon's Mind. Counter trap. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control a monster of 2500 original attack or defense, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. If this card is in your graveyard, you can pay 2500 life points, set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. First thing I thought of, there's a lot of dragons with 2500 original attack or defense, Blue Eyes, and also the Regenesis cards. It doesn't have to be a dragon. You can just have the Regenesis cards in play and activate this. I like this card a lot. It can set itself from the graveyard to be used again. That's another thing I like about my interaction in Domain. If it can set itself to be used multiple times, I am in. Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. Slowly over time, the Shining Sarcophagus pool of cards has been getting support, and I have been all for it. I think it is at a critical mass now that you can build something really cool with it in Domain. She is a level 6 Dark Spellcaster, 2000 attack, 1700 defense, not much different than Dark Magician Girl. It has a built-in special summon by discarding a card, and if you do, this card's name becomes Dark Magician Girl. You can only special summon this once per turn this way. If this card's normal or special, you can add a Shining Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. Amazing effect for the Shining Sarcophagus deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. Gains 300 attack for each monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus in the graveyards. I imagine once going through your line of play, this could be pretty decently sized. At least 2600, if not 29 or 3200 attack. So this card's amazing for the archetype. I can't wait to get my hands on one. As an aside, I saw a very cool deck that used this as the deck master. Now, it mentioning Shining Sarcophagus does not give you access to all cards that mention Shining Sarcophagus. That's not how domains work. If she was your deck master, you would have access to any Dark Magician card, because she mentions Dark Magician in her, that is an archetype, believe it or not. Any Dark Monster, any Spellcaster, and any Dark Magician Girl, which I think is an archetype. It might not be, actually. I think just Dark Magician is an archetype. But that's not that big of a deal, because all the Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician support, they're mostly dark and or spellcasters. I saw a pretty cool deck that tried mixing like a Dark Magician deck with Magician Girl is an archetype. Okay, good to know. The deck mixed Dark Magician Girls, and the Shining Sarcophagus stuff that it could play, and it seemed like a pretty solid deck, not gonna lie. So I think this can be a cool card. It's got a built-in special summon. It searches for Shining Sarc. It starts your Shining Sarc plays. You can still play a large majority of the Shining Sarc stuff. Like, you can still play the Dark Magician, you can still play Gandora, you can still play Silent Magician. Is the Archfiend dark? I think you can play the Archfiend. So you can still play a large portion of the Shining Sarc stuff. I am a sucker for callbacks to old normal monsters. Like Serpent Night Dragon. Wicked Serpent Night Dragon says you can tribute a dark monster from your hand or field. Special summon this card from your hand. Not too hard to do. You can only use this effect once per turn. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target one monster your opponent controls. Send it to the graveyard. Then you can special summon this card. This card is a crazy wall. The once per turn is only tied to the first effect, which is summoning itself. So somebody could crash into this, destroy it. You could target their monster that destroyed it, bring this back while sending that monster to the graveyard. And then if they crash into it again, it can activate again. This card's crazy. I mean, it's crazy in the sense that like it's very, very good at defending yourself. It doesn't destroy, which is pretty good. It does have to target. So you can target like things like Dragoon, but sending it to the graveyard rather than destroying it, it's pretty huge in my opinion. I am in love with this card. I'm going to try it out myself. I think it's great. Yes, excellent point, Sakuraba. If it's your turn and they have a big 5,000 attack monster or whatever, or something that's bigger than 2350, you can use this to crash into it, send it to the graveyard. It was destroyed by battle, so you can target a monster your opponent controls, send that monster to the graveyard, and then bring this back to attack again. It's very telegraphed, right? This is very versatile. These are the kind of cards. This is the pack filler, the common pack filler that I love. Not immediately like jumping out as like overpowered or anything, but it is an extender and it's a pretty good wall and very roundabout removal. I like it quite a bit. I'm going to be stashing some of these aside and trying to put it into any deck that can use darker dragons. Another callback to a normal monster. Konami, keep these coming. I'll take these all day. Crimson Firewing Pegasus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Level 6 Fire Beast. 2250 attack, 1800 defense. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, it can attack directly this turn. This is an inherent summon. You can ignore the from hand part. And this can be your deck master. You can only special summon it once per turn this way though. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the chain link number of this effect times 300. Also, this cannot be destroyed by card effects activated before this one on the chain. That is a mouthful, but it is pretty crazy because if you activate something and then they try to negate it and then, or if they activate a pop, yeah, this guy is super sick. In Domain, that can go quite high. Sakuraba is very right. Because imagine this, let's say you throw this out there and you pass. Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 players, they all do something and make like a giant chain. And one of them finishes off with a monster effect that they activate on the field. All those effects that just activated could have nothing to do with you. And you're like, we're at chain link 8, you say. Chain Link 9 Crimson Firewing Pegasus, dealing 2700 damage, just doming somebody. This card is crazy. I love this. This is the type of pack filler that I am ecstatic to get. It's generic. It has a Cyber Dragon summon. Attacking directly is nothing to sneeze at either. This is essentially just like a 2250 burn. Good way to make people afraid of acting. Yeah, for sure. Dragolithia Kunzite? I'm gonna say Kunzite. That's a weird word either way. I'm gonna call it Dragolithia. This is a Dragolithia card. Level 8 Earth Dragon. If this card's in your hand, you can activate this effect. You can send a level 7 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. So sending is part of the effect, so you gotta be careful about that. It'd be nice if it was part of the cost, but being a Foolish Burial plus an extender right off the bat, this card is crazy good, and it just has to be a level 7 or higher normal monster. It doesn't have to be a dragon, it doesn't have to be an earth monster. I can immediately see this playing well with Primite because it's an earth dragon. Then it says you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a normal monster in your graveyard to special summon it in defense position. So out of nowhere, you could activate this, send a Blue Eyes from your deck to the graveyard, special summon this card. If you use this for material or whatever, banish it from the graveyard to get that Blue Eyes into play. You get what I mean. This is super easy access into normal monsters. This is, again, great pack filler. I was amazed that this is just a common. Oh, sorry, this is a super rare. My bad. Still great card. I'm very excited about it. Can't wait to get my hands on some. And then this is the last one we're going to be talking about. This is Hrimnir, the Divine Follower. It is a level 9 light fairy, 2200 attack, 2200 defense. You contribute 3 fairy monsters from your hand and or field. Set 1 continuous spell from your deck, but send it to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase. So when you activate this, you can tribute 3 fairies, including her, set a continuous spell from your deck, but you have to send it to the graveyard during your opponent's next end phase. You target which opponent to pick. So you could pick the opponent that goes before before your turn starts. Mirage of Nightmare support, let's go! Dude, that's actually crazy. You're right. You could go get Mirage of Nightmare, go back up to 4 cards, somehow discard more cards to draw more cards every standby. And then it sends itself to the graveyard before your standby, so you don't have to discard any cards. That's so funny. I was actually thinking this would probably be useful in more of like the Air Knight Parshoth deck. But anyways, it has more effects. If this card's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field, so it floats. Awesome. This is a common. This is crazy. Whenever I see anything that can just generically search for continuous spells, continuous traps, I'm always very interested. And this will definitely go into, this is probably going to go in my low deck, my Silent Force deck. But I could easily see this being put into Agents, Air Knight Parshoth stuff, Counter Fairies, whatever. It's a cool card. It's a freaking common. All right, guys, that was everything I was particularly looking forward to in Allen. But this set is insanely good. There is so much good stuff I didn't even go into. There's a Red Eyes support card here. There's some really awesome Cyber stuff. I'm just not too familiar with Cybers, so their Once Over did not stick in my mind. There's new Live Twin support. There's new Cyber Dark support, dude. This set is so cool. Lots of great stuff. The Dragon Rulers, obviously, I already made a video on that. So I'll pin it here. You can check it out if you want. The Brain Controller card is crazy. Yeah. This lets you add Brain Controller, and then it gives them a monster for you to use Brain Controller on. It's super cool. This set's, honestly, I think the set is amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on some. I'm going to be buying a lot of singles, if not multiple boxes. So was there anything I missed? Was there anything you guys are excited for in Domain specifically? I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. I love hearing people's ideas. I learned a lot just from having chat here and telling me cool stuff. But with that said, that's everything I got to say about the set. Until the next set, I'll see you guys then. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. Hey guys, real quick before I leave, I wanted to thank my Patreon members and YouTube channel members. I got one sole YouTube channel member. Thank you very much. And these are my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. Your guys' support goes a long way to helping me share Domain format with the world.